Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk about Beyond the Gates Season 2, Episode 57. Now, before we begin, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. All right, so we start the episode off with Vernon and Leslie, and they're still doing their little back and forth or whatever. So she's telling him that um uh oh, she tells him, like, because I think the last thing we heard was him saying that um nothing good will come of something. And so she's just like, "Oh, you're saying I have no class, and then you're tearing down a woman in the very club your father established, and he must be turning in his grave. He must be rolling over in his grave." And he tells her, "My father was a magnanimous man, and one of the first things he taught me was to never suffer fools." And he would actually be proud of him for putting it into practice. So Leslie says she will rise above, and she knows that he's in a lot of stress, since Anita has been sick, but she won't be understanding the next time he gets in her face. And I'm glad he said it, because I was about to say, "Girl, what?" So he says, "You the one that approached me, and you started all of this by building that eyesore across the street from us." She says, "Well, one man's eyesore is another woman's delight." And he tells her that Spite House will never delight anyone but her. So she can set aside her manufactured indignation. She will never have the moral high ground. She tells him, "Well, I'm becoming a pillar of the community, and if he's not careful, he's going to be looking up to her instead of the other way around." And he tells her, "If you believe that, then you are nuttier than the fruitcake that you gave me." And he walks away. So she's just like, so she turns around and she sees Eva, staring at her. So her and Eva are back in the country club, and they talk about what happened with Vernon, and Leslie isn't about to let them push her out of Fairmont Crest or whatever. Eva tells her that, this feud is ridiculous. And she's just like, "I agree," and basically makes it seem like it's all them and they're the reasons why they're feuding. And it's just like, you and your, I don't even want to put Eva in this because I'm trying, but girl, you should have told your mama, "No, this is you," because you keep going at them. Like, you don't need to, because she did say, um, yeah, she does call her out on what she's been doing. She tells her, "You're the one who decided to buy a house across the street from them. Like, you're the one who's doing all this other stuff." So Leslie, she's trying to make it seem like she ain't do nothing. She says, "I did cut back on the construction," and Eva says, "Only because they made you." And she'll just like, "Well, if they would have asked me respectfully, then I would have done it on my own." And it was just like, if they have to ask you to do it respectfully or not, that means that you weren't going to do it. So you saying, "Well, if they would have asked me, then I would have done it on my own." No, them asking you is because you're not doing it. So girl, what? So she complains about, all the money that she's putting into this, and she belongs there and she deserves to be there. She's sponsoring a new sports wing and the free clinic, but nothing is ever going to satisfy the Duprees. And it's just like, that's your problem. You are Everything that you're doing is because you want to one up the Duprees, or you want to get this praise from them for doing something. Or not even that you want to get praise for them, you just want to act like you are the same as them. And at the end of the day, you are not. Like, you didn't grow up with money. You don't act like anyone who's grown up with money. You are you are a terrible person. Like there's no other way that I can say it, but that you are a terrible person and you will never be on their level. Yes, the Duprees can act like they're all high and mighty, and honestly, they really don't even act like that. They've done some trash things. Everybody's done trash things, but you are worse than them. Like, you're worse than them. I mean, you may not be worse than Martin because you know, he didn't off somebody, but that wasn't self defense. But either way it goes, he at least felt bad for it. You are okay with what you're doing. You are happy with what you're doing. You are doing all of this for what reason? Because you again want to one up the Duprees, and it's just like, girl, stop. If you would stop living to please them or to even despise them or just stop living to go against them, you would be much happier. But that's too much like right. So Eva's, wishes that she wouldn't poke the bear, and Leslie says that's your problem because she is the bear. So she gets up and leaves. So we see let me see. We see Jacob and Smitty. They are again in the alley, of course. And Jacob, they're trying to get an update from each other, like with what's going on or whatever. Um Sorry, they're trying to get they're giving each other an update of what's going on. Jacob is happy that Smitty is there, that Smitty is there with him or whatever. Smitty is still worried because Jacob he's got two aliases. He's Rashad with Ren, and then he's a dirty cop with Grayson. So he's worried about him. Jacob says it's gonna be okay. He does tell him that he has another pickup at the hospital. Then he gets a text from Naomi because she wants to meet, and he's just like, it's not like her, so he's worried. And then Smitty tells him about what happened with Anita, and then he hates that he can't be there for her. So Smitty says he'll look out for Naomi, so he's happy about that. We see Ashley is let me see. Sorry. We see Ashley and Grayson. So again, they're at the hospital, and Ashley wonders why Grayson doesn't want to hurt her feelings. He explains it away. Um, Ashley and Grayson know they see Naomi and something looks off with her, and they wonder what it is. She tells him it's probably a case that he's working on, or what that she's working on, and that's what it is or whatever. So we see Leah approach him, and she she's telling him that he's going to start working at the clinic and he's going to start volunteering there. He thinks it's a bad idea because Derek works there, and Derek doesn't like him because he's dating Ashley. And she's just like, well, that's not my problem. And you work at this hospital with people and they never know anything about it. So you can do well at the hospital, at the clinic or whatever. And she starts saying how Derek was just like, oh, I want to be there for y'all and we can work hand in hand and all this other stuff. So he tells her, he doesn't think Derek would fall for it or get in line with doing the drops or using the clinic to get the plasma and the blood that they need or whatever. And she tells him everyone has a price. You had a price, so everyone has a price. So we gonna get Derek, basically. So Ashley, she notices them. She wonders why. She wonders what happened, or not wonders what happened. She tells him, I bet Leah was coming at you for something, and she wonders what happened to Leah because when Ashley first started working there, Leah used to be all giddy and happy, and she was friendly, laughing with everybody. But now she's changed, and she wonders why it was, because again, she wasn't always like that. So we see, and I don't have a picture of it, so sorry. So we see Isaiah. He's on the phone with he's on the phone with Naomi, and he's asking her for the burner, and she's just like, oh, I don't know, I don't know what you're talking about. He tells her that, I know about the burner. Jacob told me when I ran into him. And Naomi is pissed. She was just like, she's pissed because she was just like, you told me you hadn't seen him. She asked if Jacob said you could use it, and he was just like, no. But mom is real, but his mom is really worried, and he just wants to hear her voice, and tell her that she loved, and tell so that she can hear Jacob's voice and tell him that she loves him. And Naomi is just like, in case he doesn't come home, and he's just like, no, that's not what it is. And so she goes in on him, and she's just like, she tells him no, she's not gonna do it. She wouldn't risk it. She's not gonna give him the phone because they could risk it for Jacob. And if he wanted them to get in touch with him, he would have given them a burner or a way for them to get in touch with him. And she doesn't want to be the bad guy. But no, she's not gonna give it to him. And this is her only lifeline, and the only way that she knows that Jacob is safe, and she isn't going to risk it. And if Darlene needs reinsurance, then she needs to talk to her husband. And she hangs up. And I was just like, dang, Naomi. I was just like, oh, wow. Like, girl, that was just, I was feeling a way about it. But then I was just like, you know what? I'm not even mad at her, because honestly, everything she said was the complete truth. And I think the only reason why I was looking at her sideways is because I don't like Naomi, because she'd be pissing me off. But again, I can say when somebody's right even if I don't like them. And she was completely right to say this to Isaiah, because Isaiah was dumb for even thinking about asking her about this. So he goes back and tells Darlene about this. And let's see. Uh oh, Darlene tells him, he tells Darlene sorry that he couldn't get her to talk to Jacob. And, he tells her what he did. And she was just like, I didn't want you to do that. And she was just like, you shouldn't have done that. And she agrees with Naomi, and that what they have is for them. And she would never impose on that. And he was just like, I don't know why I became the bad guy. She reassures him and lets him know, um, it's not that you're the bad guy, but she understands where Naomi's coming from, so it's all good. So Eva walks in and she approaches them, and he's just like, he asks, do you want to he introduces them. And Darlene is very like, hi, like icy. She's like really polite, but you know. So he asked if she wants to join them, and she's just like, "Oh no, I'm just here to pick up takeout for the guys for the workers at the office, because Ted and my dad and Carlton want to treat them for all the hard work they're doing or whatever." So he says, "Oh, well, we're done. We're finished eating, but we can sit and wait with you." Um, and Darlene, and she was just like, "Is that okay, mom?" And Darlene was just like, "Oh, well, I got something to do, so I gotta go." So she gets up to leave. She gives Isaiah a hug, and she's just like, bye to Eva. And then Eva, as she's walking out, she was just like, "Nice to meet you." And I was just like, dang, I kind of feel bad for her in this moment, just a little bit, just a little bit. But if she's getting what she is, Darlene treated her the way everybody should have been treating Eva this whole time, honestly. Like they should have been cordial at best with her, because yeah. So she tells him that your mom doesn't like me. And he was just like, nah, she's nice. And she's just like, she was just like, yeah, she was like overly nice. And women, we know what that means. And he was just like, nah, she's worried about Jacob and all this other stuff. And she was just like, Eva was just like, okay, I get it, or whatever. So Naomi gets a text from Smitty, asking to do lunch at the club. Ashley goes to check on her, to see if everything's okay, and she is just like, yeah, she doesn't want to get into it. Everything's okay, but she has to go to the office, so she leaves. She meets up with Smitty, and you know she says she really needed this, and then she low key breaks down, and Smitty hugs her, and he offers her an open ended invitation to come to the house and be with them and the family, and he gives her all the reasons why she should, and she's just like, she agrees, she's happy for it or whatever. So we see, what else do we see in this episode? Let's see. We see Dani and Nicole. So we see Dani and Nicole, and they're at Uptown, and they're talking about what just happened with Anita and all this other stuff. Um, Nicole wants to know where Dani went after, and she's just like, she went to go see Bill. Don't be mad. She's just like, oh, I understand, because I went and told Ted right away, and they're family, so they still love our parents very much. So it's understandable for us to go and tell them give keep them up to date with what's going on with the family. So Dani tells her about Bill telling her that he doesn't want to have a kid with Hayley anymore, and Nicole wonders why he even told her that. And maybe it's his way of seeing if she wants to get back together with her. And Dani was just like, and she asked Dani how she feels about it. Dani doesn't think about, she doesn't take it serious. Nicole tells her, um, Nicole says, him having a baby with Hayley would lock them down, and maybe there is a crack in their relationship, and they've all been wondering how long it would last. And she wants Dani to admit that she would love it if Bill admitted that getting with Hayley was the worst mistake of his life, and that he wants her back. Dani tells her that she's with Andre, and and no, she says if she wasn't with Andre, she would probably be all over it, even if she didn't want Bill back, because that's what every scorned woman wants. But she is she's with Andre, and she loves him. So Nicole says, closing the door on someone that has had a big part in your life can be hard. And Dani said, well, who has to do that? And she was just like, one of the things that she misses about Bill is their friendship. And there have been moments where it felt like they were friends again, and not in a husband and wife kind of way. And she has Hayley to thank for that. And Nicole was just like, okay, let me take away your wine. And she was just like, girl, it's not that serious. She says Hayley stealing Bill. Um, she says if Hayley hadn't stole Bill, it wouldn't have put her on the path that she's on now, which is her being happily married to Andre and back in modeling and thrilled with the new her. So and then she says that Dani says she's surprised that Hayley didn't pitch a fit about not having a baby. And Nicole gives her the benefit of the doubt, saying, I've suffered many miscarriages, so maybe that's why Hayley doesn't want to go through that process again. And Dani is just like, yeah, I'm not too sure about that. And then they both wonder, what Hayley could be up to. So we see, let's see, what do we see next? Because a lot happened. We'll go to, okay, so Bill. So Bill is the one who Anita had called. So they're at the house. They're going over the changes that she's made to her trust, her trust or whatever. And she tells him that she wants him to be the co-executor and co-trustee of the trust, and that she shares with Vernon. He accepts, but he doesn't think that Vernon will sign off on it. She tells him that she'll talk to Vernon. And she did think of other people, like she thought of to maybe make Naomi or Nicole be the trustee and the co-trustee and co-executor, but she knows that they'll be going through the grief too. And she knows that she says that her and Bill are family, and she wants him to be there for them, for Vernon, to get through this because, he's going to be distraught when, when her time comes or whatever. So Bill says he's honored that she trusts him. And and she says they're family and she knows that she can count on him. He says he'll make the changes and he tells her good luck telling Vernon. So he leaves. Sharon is back and her and Anita are talking. I think she just gave Anita her medicine or whatever. Anita gets tired. Sharon wants to take her upstairs, but Anita's just like, no, she doesn't want to go up there. So not Anita, Sharon gets a pillow and she has Anita lay on the pillow. So she's laying in her lap and she's like, rubbing on her and humming to her. And then Vernon comes in and thanks Sharon for being there for her or whatever. So Anita wakes up and they reminisce about the old days and how they both took care of each other. Sharon goes to leave, but then she gives Anita words of encouragement. So once she leaves, Anita tells Vernon about what she decided with the trust and about Bill being the co-executor and co-trustee, and he understands and he supports her. He says, I agree with it and I'm all for it. So that happens. So we see Tomas and Lynette are at the office. They're in Bill's office. Lynette brought some muffins to thank them um her for the winning her case or whatever. And he starts to flirt with her and Hayley is listening outside. So he wants to know what she's going to do next now that the case is over. She asks him what he likes to do. He talks about, so him doing his salsa is sinful or whatever. And she says, oh, does that line work? And he was just like, well, you tell me. And she'll just like, you can't play a player. So he was just like, oh, so, and he says, oh, is that what you are? So Hayley walks in and, she says, this stops now. Tomas is just like, well, what stops? Like, we're just having a friendly convo and a send off. So Hayley says, oh, you crossed the line. He says, well, I guess we're gonna agree to disagree. I was just like, okay, he getting it. He getting his one twos with her. He said he worked on her case before Bill got it dismissed. And she brought a thank you basket, nothing indecent about it. And she says it's not a good look. And he says, interesting. You have strong opinions about mixing business with pleasure when you were a very married Bill's paralegal before becoming his second wife. Uh, I was just like, get her, Tomas, get her. And I don't like Tomas. So she tells him, well, he has an office of his own and he should get back to it. So he was just like, okay, whatever. So he leaves and Hayley wants to know what Lynette is doing. And she's just like, I'm just having fun. And Haley says he's acting way too interested, especially since he's dating Bill's niece, and he would never flirt with anyone unless he's trying to gain her trust or trying to get her to slip up. And Lynette is just like, well, my case is over, so there's nothing to dig up on me unless. And then she's just like, oh, he's trying to get some information. He's he says that he's trying to get something on Hayley and he's using Lynette to do so. And Hayley is just like, man, that's the last thing that we need, that either one of us needs. And Bill walks in at this or whatever. So Hayley plays it off and she tells him, oh, she was bringing a thank you basket. And Lynette's laying it on thick and all this other stuff. So she's getting ready to leave, and Hayley is just like, oh, and let me know if Tomas bothers you again. And Lynette acts like she's sad and she leaves. And Bill is just like, well, what you mean about if Tomas acts up? And so she was just like, well, I caught him flirting, and she says, I wonder if he's stepping out on your niece. And Bill was just like, he wouldn't be that stupid. And she was just like, you want to bet? And I was just like, girl, what you about to do? Child. So again, so what else happened? Oh, the last scene. So we see we see what's these people's name? Grayson and Jacob. They're on the elevator and they're doing a drop. So um they get on the Jacob's already on the elevator. Grayson comes on. He drops the things off. They go up a flight, and then as he's getting ready to get off on the next stop, Ashley gets on, and she'll just like, "Oh, are you stalking me? Oh, I gotta go and drop this off on the top floor. Do you want to follow me?" So they're riding up to the top floor as Jacob is standing behind them, and that's how the episode ends. And it's just like, sir, like this is why it does not make sense what he is doing with this undercover job. Because, sir, you were you went undercover to infiltrate a blood plasma ring. Did you not think that this would have something to do with the hospital? Like, sir. So we don't know if he gonna get caught. We about to see what's gonna happen. But yeah, it was a cute little episode. Darlene is not one to play. I can't wait to see how that's gonna shake up with them. I hope we get to see a little bit more of her because I like her. Um, but yeah, that was the episode. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. Get down in the comments, tell me what you guys thought of this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one.